Hi, everybody. My name is Lindsay Barusing, and this is the best part of the week. This is gentle yoga. Let me go ahead and square up this video a little bit for you. Perfect. I hope you're feeling well today. I know I am. I'm super excited for this part of the week. You'll notice that a lot of the things that we do today in gentle yoga could be up leveled or modified to be a little bit more challenging or a little bit more gentle and restorative. So I'd like you to take it where you'd like to take it. If we're ever in tabletop and you feel like stretching a little bit more in a down dog, then you take it there. Perfect. Embryo will be where we start today. Knees can be together, tops of feet flat on floor. And as we coil down, the hairline just kisses the earth. If child's pose or a seat feels more comfortable, just come to a contemplative pose and begin to notice the breath without even changing it. We mistakenly take our breath for granted. We think it'll be there no matter what, but this breath, this next breath right here, is not guaranteed. And so just to be with it and to really let it settle you and ground you, it's here today. Let's let this be a celebration of that. As you foster a deeper relationship with your breath. I'll let you know why we're doing what we're doing here. I have 91-year-old neighbors, Betty and Bob. They have been married for 70 years, and this week, Betty, unfortunately for us, passed away. But she did so surrounded by friends and family in the most comfortable way possible in her home. And I watched this entire year as Bob took care of Betty, as he put other things aside, even moved into assisted living for a little while to assist her, and moved her back when she didn't like it. And so it's really put into perspective for me what matters, what actually matters in my life. What do I spend time on that's superfluous, that's extra, that's just distraction, and what actually matters? And that's what I dedicate my practice to today. You might even inquire with yourself what matters most to you. Breathe it in as your intention. And exhale to gently confirm. As you breathe in, let's come up to a tall seat. And exhale, we'll just gently take our hands to our thighs. Inhales, take us into a cow back. Sternum stretches upward towards sky. Exhales, rainbow you into a cat back, looking in toward navel. Let's do that a few more times at your own pace here. Gaze can be soft ahead or perhaps closed to dive deeper into the internal landscape. From here, we will steady our hips and just do a little bit of some rolling through our rib cage now. So your hands can land wherever feels comfortable. And you'll just feel movement from front to back, side to side, all the way around in the 360-degree rotation. Just starting to notice unjudgmentally what's happening here on your mat today. And to switch directions in your own time. Perhaps even feeling how steady or mobile your pelvis is on your heels. We're just awakening some of that latent energy, tapping in, Mind and body become one through awareness. On your next breath in, interlace your hands overhead, push your palms up toward the sky, and exhale, come into a cat back. Push your shoulder blades apart. Breathe in, cow back, little back bend at the top with your arm bone. And continue just like this, breath to movement. Let's not really worry about how many rotations we take through each flow, but just start to dial in to the experience. I know my mind usually takes me somewhere analytical, right? I want to make sure we're even. I want to make sure we get into every single little anatomical landmark and meridian. But sometimes it's nice just to let all of that go and just swim inside this experience. From here, let's just do some barrel rolls again with our chest, 360-degree rotation. And start to notice how it feels to bring the shoulders a little bit more dramatically into this rotation. How big can the movement be without it being unstable? I'll switch direction. You might too in your own time. And some days it feels better for me to have more nuanced movement, maybe not so big and dramatic. I feel like our sensitivity as yoga practitioners can dial in so that even a very, very gentle practice can be very satisfying and impactful. You might start to feel a little heat through your shoulders here. You're not just opening, but you can feel them more. Awesome. From here, arc back, and then we'll just bend one elbow to one side, just like this, and pull down. Continue to breathe. Don't turn your body like I am, but I want to show you what's happening here in the upper body. So I've just got this nice tricep stretch with a little chin tuck here. Let's switch our sides. All the way up, lengthen, and then come all the way down so you feel that little mermaid pose arm over here. Let your bottom elbow be heavy and the bind between your fingers. Pull your top elbow deeper down into your stretch. All the way up when you feel even. And let's meet in table. Again, taking your time. You know that I am keeping track of the time for you, so not to check anything or come out of the practice when you feel as though you need to. Let's take our left arm up in space. Open your wing, open your wrist, perhaps even cactus through your elbow here. And we'll start with the left arm because we will twist and thread to the right, and it's important that we twist right first. Breathe in elongation. And exhale, let's thread the needle. Lay yourself down gently. I like a half bind with my top arm. I reach around for my left inguinal crease here or hip crease, and that just feels really, really nice on the front side of my right shoulder. Feel all those places where your body makes contact with the earth, feel supported, nurtured. And notice your ability to really surrender any trying or grasping for anything. There's really nothing to do after you make the shape, but settle into it and be patient, be kind, be observant and unjudgmental. Just simply let the process unfold without too much force. That's really at the heart of gentle yoga here. On your next breath out, take your right hand underneath your right shoulder. As you breathe in, you'll open your wing up and just feel a gentle expanse on your chest. And then gently take your hand back down to the earth. Let's do the other side. Right arm up. Go ahead and bend and cactus. Roll through your wrist. See if there's anything that needs to come out from between fingertips. Breathe in and breathe out to slowly thread the needle and land. Let your gaze have a peacefulness to it. If you feel as though it's at all erratic, begin to settle it in just one direction. What's most soothing to me in gentle yoga is usually a horizon line gaze. So I haven't hyperextended my neck, I'm not trying to tuck too deeply with my chin. I'm simply letting everything just fall where it feels most natural. And though this is a lot of times we call it like a shoulder stretch, yes. Can you bring your mind's eye to your spinal column and see how the rotation feels? Your mid, your upper back. I'll invite you to bring your left hand down underneath your left shoulder. Exhale. Breathe in, right arm high, stretch it nice and long. And exhale, let's just come to table. A few cats and cows here on your own, just to honor that full cycle of breath and cleanse our mental space between each flow. I'll invite you to extend your right leg up and back. And just stay for a moment to make sure that you are steady through your abdominals. Armpits are nice and open. Gaze is lifted toward horizon, so chin is neither too stuck out nor too folded in. Now let's just take some big old circles with our hip joint. Don't overthink it. As long as your abs still look down at the mat and you just find that gliding through your hip joint, you're getting out what I want you to get at here. And switch direction. You might feel a little bit of heat here. I know that I do. These gentle yoga practices are a very good marriage between yin and yang. You've got that softness, but we also need a little bit of healthy stress. Yes, a little bit of healthy stress on the body and the mind. Let's bend, twist, and open here for a moment. You can elongate if you like, but your shoulders stay square. And just to play with that open hip, kind of like we do in downward facing dog. Right foot coils out and over toward left edge of mat. And then very carefully invite your right foot out to the outside of your right pinky finger. Perfect. So if I were to remove my hands, you could see that I'm on a little bit of a runner's lunge here. And we'll be here for a few breaths. I'd like you to ask yourself whether you'd like some gentle back and forth through the hamstring on the left front hip pocket, or whether you'd just like to stay still there. Different days call for different amounts of stillness or movement, don't they? And so find that here and now. And we'll practice being very present today, because the best way to honor the things that matter most to us in life are to plug into them richly without distraction when we're with them. The best way to honor yourself is to be completely present with yourself here. And as you practice that, when you go out and you interact with those things that mean so much to you outside of this room, outside of this practice, you will have trained to be completely immersed in all that is that. For me, the things that matter most are my family, this inquiry into spiritual and emotional and personal development. And so I just try to think about these holds and these mindful movement based practices as training for those things. Awesome. Big through your armpits once again. Lift up and back through your right leg. Give it a good old stretch. And we'll set it down. You should feel a little uneven from side to side. Yes? Okay, let's do our left leg. Doesn't really matter which way you rotate first, but I would like you to look at my waistline and how perhaps it does not move, hopefully, that much, if at all. If you notice any clicking or popping, perhaps you back off just a little bit. I feel like switching directions. Notice when you want to switch directions. And this is a little bit much for my wrists after a while. So now you can come to your forearms or some knuckles if need be. And then just to bend, twist, and open so that your left toes come out and over to the right. Feel a nice big old stretch. You can hear some pops and creaks in me today. I'm trying to stay hydrated. We'll see how that pans out. Awesome. Straighten your leg, please, and then pull it all the way up towards your left pinky finger and do what you did on the other side. Either that nice rock back and forth of straightening and sinking a little further into the joints, or perhaps that nice stillness. I always say it doesn't have to be fancy to be effective. It really doesn't. Sometimes these more simple practices can feel mundane or elicit boredom from people. And those are challenges within themselves, yes? Like if we need everything to be fancy all the time in order to be plugged into it, that's kind of a byproduct of our society right now. Can we go through the withdrawal of distraction so that we might get to the peace, what really matters? I'll tell you that my husband the other day we were talking about what really matters in life as we were talking about the passing of our neighbor. And he came to realize how much he's missed just being so busy in residency and things of that sort. And he was like, I'm not missing any more important stuff now that he's a little bit older and has a little bit more of a choice. But sometimes it does take that moment of like awareness of, oh, my life has shifted. That's right. I can make choices so that I don't have regrets in the future of how I spent my time and my energy. Isn't that right use of energy and that principle that we have in yoga? Mindfully extend your left leg up and back. Give it a good old expanse. We'll come to table. Up through down dog. Just 3 breaths to stretch out here. And you can take any mindful movement that you want, but do make sure that your heels hide behind your third toes. So I don't want to see my heels inward, nor do I want to see them peek out from the outer knife edges of my feet. From here, let's just walk our hands back toward our feet and take a ragdoll. There's so many ways to take ragdoll. My favorite is 5 breaths here and then 5 breaths with a clasp behind my back. So that's what I'll practice, and I'll cue you if you'd like to come with me. Perhaps take a moment to feel all the pressure inside your upper back, your shoulders, your neck, your head, as gravity and blood flow impact these spaces. If you'd like to take my binds with me, go ahead and take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. On an inhale, stretch your chest really nice and wide. And on your exhale, just disengage through your head, neck, and shoulders so they're nice and limp like a rag doll. We'll take a few more breaths here. You might even start to feel your face flush. I know when I come out of this, one of my daughters always says I have a little vein in my head that pops. I'm usually a little bit more flush through my cheeks. It's a good sign. Invite your hands down your legs, all the way to the floor. And clean up your feet so they're about hip width distance apart, spread through your toes. Inhales draw you up into a big old mountain. And exhales just twist us over to the right. Breathe in, mountain center. Exhale, twist to our left. Nice gentle twist here, nothing forced. Breathe in, center. And exhale, forward fold, kind of like that snow we saw last week. OMG. Gentle. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, relax into your fold. Let's do that a couple more times at our own pace. Inhale, up. Exhale, a twist. Breathe in, up. And exhale, a twist. Breathe in, up. Press out, forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift. And the out breath, forward, I'll fold. Breath in, mountain. Breathe out, twist, spread your fingers. Breathe in, mountain. Breath out, twist, spread your fingers. Breathe in, mountain. And breathe out, forward, fold. Breathe in, halfway lift. And as we breathe out, we'll walk back out to our downward dog. Breathe in, lift your right leg high. And as we exhale, we'll come through for low lunge. As you breathe in, star pose. And as we exhale, we'll do horse legs with some shoulder dips. Perfect. As you land in here with me, just make sure that your ankles are right underneath your knees. And let's take a couple of twists back and forth. We'll just push the inner thigh out and back. And rotate breath to movement. You'll feel that you have this nice, slow, sultry pace if you follow this unique breath. This posture is so satisfying to me, this movement. Notice where you feel it. It's usually in the places where you're tightest. Even yourself out, please. Slowly expand into your star. Get as big as feels good. And then come into a wide-legged forward fold. Notice how my toes just tapered in slightly here. And rest easy. Perhaps you even fiddle with the expanse between your heels. Does it need to be bigger? Do you want it to be just a little bit more closed in? This is a hard posture. You can feel that if you engage your quadriceps slightly, perhaps your hamstrings release. Awesome. Halfway lift on your next inhale. Just extend and peek forward. And let's come into half pigeon over onto our right leg here. Okay, half pigeon, not for everybody. Let me talk you through a couple of things. I assume you're in your home or somewhere where you might have access to some pillows. So if you have a pillow right underneath your right side here, that can be very, very nice. Also, if it's not very good on your knee joints, perhaps you roll over onto your right butt cheek and just bend your knees so they're a little bit more relaxed here. Okay, so find a shape that gives you about 60 to 70, 75, 80% sensation. And we'll just breathe into it. My intention for you here is outer hip, a little bit of compression. So ideally, if you could find just a little bit of outer hip sensation on the right side and or front of left hip pocket, that would be ideal. So don't ask me why I was in a Jimmy John's the other day. But while I was there, I saw some advice from Warren Buffett on the wall. Tips for success. And the very last one really spoke to me. He said, if you live to be as old as I do, toward the end of your life, you'll realize that you can't measure success in money. And that's true. We all know you can't take it with you, right? That's why he's donating most of his to charity. But he said, you measure your life in the people that you love and your relationship with those people. And it's so true. We don't have endless amounts of time. We all know that. And it's not to be a Debbie Downer. It's quite the opposite. It's to celebrate those things that still do exist, those things that we can still nurture. And perhaps even letting the memory of those that have passed before us live on as we invoke their good virtue. People like my grandmother, my father, really thinking about what they've taught me and letting those lessons live through to better humanity. Awesome. From here, let's come on up to our hands. Tuck our back toes. And I'd like you to finish out this side in a way that feels appropriate. If you would like one chaturanga or cobra or to flip your dog, that's fine. This feels pretty good to me, nice and gentle. On your next breath in, your left leg will lift sweetly and then exhale in through low lunge. Breathe in a star here. And this will be our balance posture for the day. As we exhale, we'll come in through horse with lifted heels. Awesome. There will be a shake. Remember that you can grab onto a wall if you need. And if this is not challenging enough, look skyward. It's always a little bit of a challenge for me. You should feel a tremor. This is about as rajasic or as active as we will get in this practice because I do want to keep it gentle yoga, but it's so important that we work on balance. These very functional aspects of being human. Slowly to drop your heels, exhale. Breathe in, star. And exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Let's take some flows through Skandasana. Inhales, maybe take you out to one side. And exhales through center, half lift in your upper body. Let's try that a couple more times each side. Allowing yourself to feel and respond. And just to even yourself out. And we'll just take a half lift through center and then come around to half pigeon or whatever you deem appropriate on this side. Nice. And then just to live with your shape. Sometimes it can be hard to know what matters most in life because we're told from a young age what should matter to us, and sometimes it doesn't end up resonating. Society, commercials, advertisements, parents, friends, job, they all want different things to matter to you. And so this time of self-reflection is so important, not to force it, but just to ask yourself continually, maybe letting different answers surface each time. What matters to me? And not only what matters to me, but why? That why can unlock so many things. And remember, as we do this work, we do so unjudgmentally. And so without judgment, with just a little bit of a smile at what comes up, proud of ourselves for being brave enough to ask questions that most people may never ask themselves. The goal is to get to the end of your life and to think, man, I really made the most of every breath. I really turned over every stone I wanted to turn. Man, I did spend a lot of time with those people I loved. And I didn't let those distractions get in the way. Those things that pulled me and tried to lure me, I didn't let them. Or if I did, I reflected and I came back. Let's crawl out of this just as gently as you did on the other side. Slow awakening. From here, table. Go ahead, inhale, elongate your right leg up and back. And as you exhale, runner's lunge. Perfect. We'll add on just a little bit. I highly recommend some sort of device to capture your foot if it does not feel good for you to do so, okay? And if it doesn't feel stable, snake your right foot back in just a little bit more toward lunge instead of runner's lunge. Heavy through your big toe mount. Perfect. On your inhale, left arm comes up, right knee grounds on right knee, or right hand on right knee. Then we'll rainbow back for a little quad stretch here. Awesome. I should make money from selling those knee discs, but literally there's like exercise knee discs you can put underneath your back knee that can feel really good. And from here, if you would like to deepen, you could always put on some of those mermaid arms that we tried earlier. Again, this is gentle yoga, so maybe you just do a little half mermaid arm here. Make sure that breath is still very present. It's the thread and that commonality between all the postures and movement. You're spring loaded, so slowly release. Did you hear my hip pop? That was loud. Ground down through your hands and come back through table. Let's take a few cats and cows here just to integrate, to cleanse mental balance. And to be unattached to outcome, this is really just about you doing a little bit of work on you, right? It does not have to be perfect. It's a practice. Okay. I will invite my left leg up and back on my inhale. And as I exhale, prepare for a little variation of runner's lunge or lizard. Left hand to left thigh. And as I come up, I might just bring it in a little bit closer to midline. Perfect. Notice how your back knee feels first and turn on your rib line here in the front. Breathe in, right arm high. And exhale, little quad stretch here. Continue to breathe. If you'd like, you can slide down into your arm crease here, into your elbow crease. Perhaps there's a little stretch up top like a mermaid. The best thing about this home practice So you really have no mirrors and no distractions. So you just get to feel in what feels good. And really, it doesn't matter what it looks like at all, as long as you're safe. Perfect. Slowly let go. Take your hands to the floor. Come back through table. And take your last couple rounds of cat cow. If you'd like them to be a little more dramatic, you could drop into a heart melting pose for 3 breaths. And then come back into embryo where we started today. But do something that you feel kind of ends the standing portion of this practice. Perfect. I'm all into seated twists lately. They feel so darn good. And it's just a really nice way to make sure that the hips don't come with us when we twist. Invite yourself down onto your mat. You can still face forward if you'd like, but I will face you so you can see some of these twists here. Right knee up and in toward your chest, and left leg can do whatever you would like. I think I would like my left leg under and around. It just feels good. And your hips might be a little uneven if you'd like to sit up on a block or simply take a moment to adjust. That can be helpful. Breathe in, left arm high. As you exhale, let's just hug in our right knee toward our chest and look over our right shoulder. Easy breath. And I'm pretty content right where I've twisted. I know a lot of times teachers will cue to deepen with every exhale, but I think there's something really nourishing about just being present with what changes in this static position. Noticing that undulation of your diaphragm, your pericardium, your heart, your lungs. Perhaps noticing if there's any movement in that soft tissue right by your pelvis as well with the breath. And then to center, let's take a little counter twist. I know a lot of you like those counter twists, so just to open up to the other side. Perfect. Switching out our legs now. Maybe just taking a moment to let them refill with new blood flow, just to feel no rush, right? Why are we always in such a rush? Okay, left leg in, perhaps right leg under or straight. And take a moment to steady yourself. It probably won't be perfect, and that's okay. Awesome. Inhale, right arm high, crown of head long. As we exhale, squeeze, twist. Look over your shoulder and breathe. Let your hips turn off. Let them just plop down. For me, these twists, just such a good reminder of like what can we get rid of and eliminate because they're detoxifying. And when I think about that, I think about like what apps take up the most time with me on my phone that I really don't need. Why am I looking at my phone when I could be looking at my daughter in the face, right? Or what else can I let go of that might be taking away from genuine connection with other people? For me, sometimes it's nagging at people for things that are probably never going to change. Can I let some of those things go and move on to deeper parts of our relationship? Okay. We'll end today on our backs. And if you have a recliner or a sofa nearby or a chair, my absolute favorite way to end a gentle practice is with legs up a chair. I obviously don't have one of those at Power Life. That would be a little weird if we had them in the studio. So I will simply roll up my little guy here so that I have some support for legs up a wall. I also recommend a wall if you don't have a chair, okay? And let's just fiddle with this until it feels good. Yeah, your legs should feel a little weightless. Go ahead and twirl out through your ankles. Take just a slight bend in your knees if they're floating in space or up a wall. And then please tuck your shoulder blades right behind the heart and take your palms up toward the sky. For today's shavasana, I'll ask you to soften or shut down your gaze and to simply visualize in detail exactly what matters most to you. Something, of course, that will still matter at the end of your life, that is enduring, not ephemeral. And stay with it here. If it helps, you can say the name of it inside your head on every inhale and just repeat it on every exhale. Let's breathe in together and exhale, shavasana. Let's take a nice little smile across our cheekbones, a swallow, a slow tilt of your head from side to side, a wave through your toes. And if you have your legs up a chair or up a wall, you're free to end your class there. If you're free floating in space like me, just to bring your legs into constructive rest pose. Soles of feet out, knees knocked together. And I'd like you just to take one hand to your heart and one hand to the space between your navel and your sternum. And to just be very grateful for this self-inquiry, this time you've had to connect with what matters most and to realize that maybe if you've been pointing your energy in a direction that's not so useful to you, that you are worth those tiny or big shifts back to where you need to be to live your best life, your richest life, and to take care of those things that matter most. Thank you so much for your practice today. Namaste. Okay, everyone, I will see you next week for my favorite part of the week. If you do not have a plethora of tools at your house To support you in your practice, I highly recommend just being inventive. Get a couple of those pillows or blankets or things that could act like straps at your house because it will elevate your practice and it will bring you into the space where you can truly care for yourself on a deeper level. I hope I see you guys next week. Take care.